Maido! Hi there, Japan fans. Today's show, we're going to talk about a wasted life of a presenter. Prezen o Master Shimasho. This is the 8th year of the Presentation Japan Series podcast. We're beaming around the world to you from sunny Minato-ku in Tokyo. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, Dale Carnegie Tokyo franchise owner, the president of Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training, and the 3-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, which is Zaeigyo in Japanese, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery, or in Japanese, Anatomo Prezen no Tachijin. Plus, Stop Wasting Money on Training, which in Japanese is Training de Okane o Muru ni Suru wa Yamimashou, and all are available on Amazon. Through this podcast, I want to help you become a better speaker to be 1, clear, 2, confident, 3, persuasive, 4, highly influential with those around you. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We are not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn. Unlike many other hosting organizations, Libsyn have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on Apple Podcasts. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show podcast. Tuesday, the Presentations Japan series. And every second Tuesday, the Business Tachijin no Oshier show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan series. And every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcasto show. Fridays, the Japan Business Master Show podcast. And Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. Now, this is episode number 374. Today, we're talking about the sad, wasted life of an aging presenter in Japan. It was a big affair. Many supporting organizations had promoted this expert dual speaker event, and a large audience filed into the prestigious venue. I was sold on the advertising too. I was intrigued by the pairing of topics, and according to the blurb, the speakers' backgrounds looked the money. The MC kicked things off and handed the baton off to the first speaker. Things went off the rails immediately. The initial thought was the microphone wasn't on, but sadly, it was. The speaker just wasn't on. This was a rookie tech mistake. I didn't expect to see that from a very senior guy in his 60s. Here is a side note for the rest of us. Always get to the venue early and test the microphone setup. Often, the venue sound system is also a problem, and there needs to be changes made to the volume controls to get more out of the system. It was a good reminder to me to not trust the given equipment as it is. Also, often in business venues, the people organising the talk are great at moving tables and chairs around, but less expert when it comes to getting the sound system to work properly. This was an evening event, so the tech people have long departed, and we amateurs are the only ones remaining. That is why we need to get there early and check everything before we are ever handed a microphone in public and expected to perform. This gentleman's frail, wispy, low-energy voice was speaking to us, but I really struggled with hearing what was being said. I was sitting in the front row, but even at that distance, the voice volume being generated was insufficient to follow the thesis being presented. For the next 20 minutes, I had no idea what he was saying. Actually, it was worse than that, which is already bad enough. Our speaker was an expert from the finance sector and had held many leading positions here in Japan, including country head and president of a number of big name brand organizations. You would think, with a resume like that, he would know better, but he spoke in a monotone. This meant that each word was delivered with exactly the same strength as every other word in his sentences. Now, we all know that words are not democratic. Some have more importance and prestige than others, and so need to be lofted above the hoi polloi. We need to hit those words harder, alternatively, much softer, to create variation. This variation is a simple pattern interrupt, which is what keeps the listeners with us. The problem with a monotone delivery is it has no pattern interrupt, and so it makes the audience sleepy. That is precisely what happened to me. I couldn't for the life of me follow what on earth he was saying, so I became drowsy. The speaker was not an English native speaker, and so there was a slight accent. However, he has spent almost the entirety of his career in international finance, so his English was very good and not an issue for him to deliver this talk. This foreign language aspect is definitely not an excuse. I'm convinced he would have delivered the same talk in his own language in exactly the same way. This is how he speaks in public, period. Find out more. We come back from the break. Our show today is brought to you by our public courses, but we also do custom in-house programs. We do them in Japanese, we do them in English, we do them in our super safe classroom, and we do them live online. Our show today is being brought to you by, on the 1st of March, we'll be doing our Dale Carnegie course, the 12-week version. On the 25th and 26th of April, our High Impact Presentations program. And on the 26th of April, we're doing our WWRS, which is our Winning with Relationship Selling program, the 8-week version. Go to our website, dale-carnegie.co.jp. That's Dale, D-A-L-E Carnegie, CARNEGIE.co.jp. Lots and lots of value there for you. To do better in Japan, email me at greg.story, that's greg.story, S-T-O-R-Y, at dalecarnegie.com. If you like learning by watching videos, then we have over 2,300 there for you at Tokyo, Japan, Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. We release 3 shows every week on YouTube. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, that's the premier business show in Japan, every Monday, Tokyo time. Fridays, we have the Japan Business Mastery Show, and on Sundays, we release Japan's top business interviews, where I interview leaders from SMEs right up to the corporate captains of industry on one topic, leading in Japan. Now, every second Thursday, we release the Business Pro Television Show. Get my best-selling books on business in Japan. The Bible on Selling, Japan Sales Mastery, that's Zaegyo in Japanese, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery, which is Anatomo Present no Tachijin in translation, plus Stop Wasting Money on Training, which in Japanese is Training de Okane o Mudnisu no Yamimashou. And all are available on Amazon. Welcome back. He also spoke his monotone sentences in long bursts, sans pauses. I have this trouble too when I speak in Japanese because I tend to speed up. This means that the words become jumbled and are hard to dissect. There are no brain breaks to allow us to digest what we've just heard. When you combine an accent with a fast clip, it makes it more difficult for the audience to follow you. When I speak in Japanese to a public audience, I have to keep telling myself to slow down and inject pauses to help the crowd stick with my message. Combining all this with a complete lack of energy made his speech a serious pain. Speaker energy is infectious. We create an electricity in the room which envelops our audience and transports them to the place we've decided to take them in our talk. When a speaker doesn't project energy, the audience has to mount their own energy sources to get involved in the speech. If the talk is gripping, even if the speaker isn't generating a lot of key or intrinsic energy, we can meet them in the middle and stick with the talk. But a wispy voice, devoid of energy, speaking in a monotone with an accent, is the coup de grace for a public speaker's reputation, no matter how senior they may be or how grand their resume is. The other two weapons in the public speaker's arsenal were also sheathed. He was using a podium to hold his notes. This meant that the height of the podium came up to his waist level, hiding his body from the audience. You often see speakers resting their laptop on the podium when they're using slides. In both cases, you don't need to stand behind the obstacle. With slides, you can have a slide clicker and stand anywhere you like. Just using his notes, he could have stood to the side to use more of his body language to bolster his words. It makes such a difference, and you will notice how much the next time you see a speaker come out from behind the podium. Eye contact wasn't being employed either to engage the crowd. He wasn't trying to connect one-on-one with the audience, as he could easily have done. When you stare straight into one eye of an audience member for around 6 seconds, they really feel the close connection with you. For them, it seems as if time and space have been suspended and it's just the two of you in the room, having a private conversation. It is so powerful, and as speakers, we definitely want to employ our eye power. Now, gestures are also absent. Part of the problem was he was holding the microphone in one hand and resting his other elbow on the podium, thus ensuring the free hand wasn't being used either. What a wasted opportunity. The vortex of voice, body language, eye contact, and gestures all zeroing in on the audience members one by one is what makes a speaker have real impact. That much concentrated energy coming at you is irresistible. Now, here is the rub. He's been working away for over 40 years, and he's always been like this. That means he's been destroying audiences with a toxic regularity stretching over decades. It was obvious. He was totally oblivious to how much damage he was doing to his personal and professional brands. His time past cannot be reclaimed, and that is sad. What is even sadder is he will keep going like this for the rest of his career. Don't squander your working years like he has. Get the training and make presenting a powerhouse support for your career and business. Did you get value from today's show? If you did, then share the love around with your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. Until the next episode, go out there and apply the learnings from today and become a presentations legend amongst your circle. Thank you for joining me, and please tune in next week. Remember, I'm in your corner, your go-to guy for soft skills training in Tokyo, committed to your success here in Nippon.